Thank you for watching my video for fighting with the FW-190. It's basically a boom and zoom plane. What that means is you're going to dive in, boom them, make a hit or a shot, and then zoom away. And it's not intended to be a turn and burn or fighting in tight quarters, that sort of thing. It's designed to go fast. So in my first pass on that plane, which is a Bell 14, I missed. So I extended out, came back, coming in, and I can see he's making a left-hand turn. So I kept the angle of my plane right where it was, fired so that he would turn into where I was aiming, and then I was able to pass on behind him without running him over. Here's another attempt coming in. I'm coming in at like 700 kilometers per hour, or pretty close to 700. He saw me coming and made it, did it exactly what you're supposed to do, and made a hard, tight turn that I can't follow. So I extended out, reset myself up, came back. I knew he was going to try and do that same thing again, so I anticipated where he's going to be shooting. And so as I came in, I tried to set up so that I knew about where he was going to be. Did a quick rollover and then a hard snapshot and then release so that I wouldn't completely black out. Got hits on him and then I extended out several more times, came back, finally finished him off. This sequence here, I'm coming in on a P-38, managed to get lined up on him, get some shots, get some kills, get a kill on him, and then I have a friendly coming in with a much greater speed, doing a boom and zoom to try to finish him off. And as you can see, he passes me, goes right on through, and then climbs away. That's Hyoslvr. Comes up in the next sequence, is a very good one. This is a classic example from a third-person view. One of our squad mates, Hyoslvr, is attacking a P-38 that's chasing a friendly. He takes him out and then zooms away. Perfect boom and zoom. Came down from high altitude, plenty of speed to catch up to him. Was able to take him out and move away. Another example here, catching up to an enemy plane, hitting him, and then moving on. Now a lot of times you come up on somebody, they're moving a lot slower than you are. This one here is a damaged spit, but he's really moving quite fast for having been damaged. However, I'm moving twice as his speed, so in order to stay in behind him, as you can see, I'm overtaking him each time I even get around. So what I'm doing is I'm doing barrel rolls. I could do larger ones if I wanted to, but I'm trying to stay right in with him, get a shot. So I come in, line up on him. I lose him in the ground clutter with the trees here, so I overcorrected and then shot past him. So then I had to do the same thing again. As I come up and over, I can see where he's going to be at, keep my eyes on him. I see he's turning into me. I make a quick shot as he comes by, but it wasn't hard enough to get the kill yet. So I one more time, I'm still maintaining that speed. I come in towards him, do a roll over the top, slide in behind him, make a steeper angled shot, see if I can get penetration at a different angle, slide in behind him, finish him off. Now here, I'm fighting from altitude, which is where I should be. Coming down, attacking a hawk that's been attacking one of our friendlies. I check my 6, make sure that I'm not being hit. I line him up, make a quick snapshot on him here as he comes underneath me, and then I fly on past, and he's damaged severely. He's going to try to extend out and away to try to escape, but I zoom back up. That was my boom. Did the zoom, went back up, came back, found him. He was down low on the ground trying to make a run for it, going real slow. And so I just came in, lined up, took the shot, and then of course I don't want to pull hard on the stick to recover. All I want to do is just flatten out so that I don't black my pilot out and crash into the ground. Now climbing into 190, you can be aggressive or you can climb at slower rates but with higher speed. You have to work with that. You can trim your plane anywhere from 1.9 to 5.6%, and depending on how aggressive you want to climb. There's also an instrument on the bottom right of the dash. It's a multimeter. There's several needles, or a couple needles on that. One needle maintains its position essentially based on how much power is being applied, whether it's max RPMs or econo, that sort of thing. The other needle swings back and forth based on the speed that you're going and the rate of climb. If the needle's moving in a counterclockwise direction, that means that you're climbing, and the faster it moves, the greater the climb, but the slower the plane will go. If it's moving in the clockwise direction, you will be accelerating, and as you accelerate, you'll either be descending in altitude and or you'll be maintaining altitude as you accelerate. There's also a couple different positions on the needles. If they are going in a horizontal direction, not quite horizontal, but at like a slight tint configuration, then that means you're going to be going the maximum amount of speed you can go and still have a decent climb rate. Or if it's in this particular configuration, you'll be going at the maximum speed for the plane with neither ascent or descent. And in this area, the maximum rate of climb for your speed is going to be where you want to maintain your needles swinging back and forth. Here's an example you can see here. I'm climbing, and the needle showing my altimeter is climbing up very rapidly, and then I level off. And then as I level off, the speed will begin to gain in speed. But you also have to remember that this also varies slightly where the needles will be based on what altitude that you're flying. So it can be, each of the needles can be varied just slightly based on what altitude you're at. Here I'd used my descent using continuous and my negative 1.9, and then as I climbed up on this spit who was trying to escape, I went back to max RPMs, and then of course leveled out my percent of angle at 0%. So again, max RPMs means the propeller blades are flatter so that they spin faster with less effort, not as much air strain on the engine, and but you want to use that for when you're climbing. If you're descending or in a turn fight, then you want to go to econo or continuous. That gives the blades will actually be twisting, torquing, and the propeller blade will then be taking bigger bites of air, pulling the plane along. It also causes a little more drag. That's why when you're climbing, you want to use your max RPMs because there's a little bit less drag. Also, if you're in the turn fights, you definitely want to be using that type of configuration. Here, I'm going in a very long, shallow dive. I started at maybe a couple K in altitude, but I'm at a negative 1.9 using continuous, and then to get to my maximum speed, and I'm maintaining that speed, as if you can see right down there in the bottom of the instrument, is just a bit, almost 700 kilometers per hour. Of course, until you almost run out of altitude and then hit the ground, then of course you're going to have to flatten out and the plane's going to start going a little bit slower. But that real gentle descent can make you go as fast as you possibly can. You can also bump it back and forth between the continuous and the econo, and then back to max RPMs to take a couple of big bites of air to go a little faster. Here I'm trying to prevent a bell from dropping its bombs on some shipping. I cut my engine by turning the engine off, and then I also hit 18% on my flaps so that I wouldn't overshoot him. Managed to get some hits on him, and then he's going down in flames over here. But the thing of using the continuous flaps, or using your continuous on the dive to go faster, not necessarily a good thing when you're trying not to overrun somebody. Also, using your superior roll rate and maneuverability in the 190 helps to be evasive when on the defensive for enemy EA. Now, he came in with a high rate of speed, but he also brought some friends, and I had lost a lot of my speed when I was climbing back up after following that bell down. So here I am trying to accelerate, being attacked. Here comes a couple more. I see the Hawk back there, and then there's a P-38 coming in even faster further back. They're all taking pot shots. So what I do is I'm using my superior roll rate, trying to get them to miss. Now I've cut out a lot of little pieces of sequences where I'm going back and forth to the maps, but I still showed a little bit of it, trying to make sure that I'm headed towards friendlies. That always helps. And so I'm maneuvering back and forth. Each time they try to roll with me, I'm rolling the opposite direction because I know they're considerably slower in their roll rates. But at the same time, I'm not trying to pull too hard because I don't want to slow down too much. Still, they came down from a higher altitude. I'm at a disadvantage, so I'm trying to use that superior roll rate. Plus, you can see I'm blacking out at the very verge of blackouts there to make those slightly tighter turns when I really need to, as they're coming up right up on me. And again, I was going back and forth to the map, making sure that I had friendlies in the area, that they would hopefully come down and take somebody off. And I was able to get away even though it was all shot up and managed to RTB. Pulling out of a dive is another thing you have to be careful of. You want to be gentle. You don't want to just crank on the stick and pull back and say, oh, okay, I'm going to pull out. You have to go flatten out your descent. Here I am coming in at close to 700 kilometers per hour. I see that I'm kind of towards the ground, so I just do it real gentle as I can. Flatten it out so I don't black out completely, and then so I don't crash into the ground. And I've used that same technique a lot when you're trying not to black out in high-speed maneuvers. Generally speaking, overall, on a 190, you want to be flying high, dive in on your enemy. If you miss, set up for another shot. Here I'm trying to prevent him from hitting a friendly. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite lined up right. He got the friendly, which happens to be my mission leader. And however, as you can see, I did a high chandelle, moving up high and up and over, maintaining my speed, and at the same time keeping an eye on him. And in working together with others, I can see that he picked up a wingmate of mine, wingman, and that he was going to attack. And we were communicating back and forth, so I'm telling him to extend, maintain his speed. Now this bit has a lot of speed, but I maintained mine, and I'm catching him rather rapidly, and I take him out. It really does behoove you to get TS, team speak, to communicate with everybody that's around you in the air. It makes the gameplay so much more fun. Trying to type things all the time is, especially in the air, is a waste of your time. If you really want to be good, get yourself some team speak and work on it. So right now my wingman's down ahead of me. Tinky's calling back saying, hey, you want to slow down. These guys are really going slow and they're right down on the deck. So I immediately bank away and slow down. This sequence here, I just wanted to show an actual sequence from beginning to end. I wasn't going quite as fast as I wanted to be, but I was pulling up on this spit who'd been doing a lot of maneuvering. I'd slowed myself down, and I just wanted to get in and show that you can turn with these planes. Even though I have a greater superior roll rate, he's able to maintain his E when he makes these sharp turns. And so what I do is to try to prevent from being able to black out and everything is I'll roll, and then I may continue my roll even though he's turning the opposite direction. I'll just continue the roll and then come back out right behind this particular plane. And as you can see, I'm maintaining my speed. I'm not pulling real hard. A couple of times here and there, little blackouts. You see the friendly here, so he's just going at it, going to town, and trying to stay in behind him. And but I've popped in a couple of degrees on my flaps. He's now been injured, and I just roll with him. He can't outroll me, so I just stay with him until I get a chance to line up on him. Then once I get my shot lined up, I let him have it. Right there. And I want to thank you for watching my video, fighting with a Focke-Wulf 190. If you have any comments, please do so. Put them into the YouTube. I'll be happy to answer what I can when I'm there. And again, thank you very much. Bye-bye.